Hi there. This is Jo Zuleika, founder of the Facebook group Women Who Lead with Heart. And I'm coming on for my weekly live, a little tardy. And the topic this week is all about resilience. Resilience in times of deep stress. And I'm especially doing this as a shout out for all my sensitive leaders, all my women out there who feel deeply, who care greatly, who want to do well, who lead with their heart, and sometimes get a little caught or hooked by stressful backlash of our efforts in the world. And I count myself as one of us, as one of you. So this is coming on the heels of several weeks of intense, immense stress that I have experienced. And I've done a lot of work about resilience, stress resilience, shame resilience. And it's the whole concept is the idea of we put ourselves out there, right? We're out there on the leading edge. We are caring and sharing. We are working our way through the world. We're standing in authenticity, and we're going to get knocked down. Brene Brown talks about getting your ass kicked in the arena. And the arena is any place that you show up as your full self. It's work that you care about. It's loving relationships that you care about. The arena is where you display what is meaningful to you through your thoughts, your actions, your words, how you put yourself out there. And the whole notion is you can't avoid getting your ass kicked when you're really putting yourself out in the arena, when you care and when you take risks and when you act courageously. So what we need to learn isn't how to avoid pain, because that's not living big. That's not living our best lives. What we are wanting to do is learn how to bounce back, how to recover well from stress when we get knocked down, when we feel like we've failed. And a big part of what I want to talk about is bouncing back when you feel shame, when you feel such deep disappointment in yourself, or embarrassment, or exposure, or vulnerability. You know, does it resonate for you? Have you had an experience maybe at work or outside in the world where you put yourself out there and you mean well and you're misinterpreted? Or you make a big play for something and it's an absolute failure? An experience where you put your heart into something and you feel misunderstood or criticized as a result. These types of setbacks are so emotional and so searing deep in our feeling world that the resilience we're talking about is resilience from shame, from feeling like we're not good enough, like we totally messed something up, that we're extremely embarrassed and exposed for not being what we had hoped or not being received in the way that we meant, for being vulnerable and not showing up as our best selves or being criticized. Is any of this resonant for you? For those of us who are sensitive leaders, who lead with our heart, it's not unlikely for us to feel really torn and wound up if we feel criticized or dismissed or unseen or humiliated in some way. Whether somebody means to humiliate us or we just take on an emotion as humiliation and defeat. This is why it's so important for us to talk about resilience, is to talk about how do we bounce back? How do we recover from these deep hurts, these wounding experiences when we really care and put ourselves out there and it doesn't go well? Now, if you were looking at the meme that I provided to advertise this talk, I talked a lot about, I had this beautiful pictogram that shows what's not your job and what is your job. And this is a really nice way for us to focus in on what happens when we have an emotional setback like this, where we feel shame and we want to develop some internal resilience to regain our form and our composure and our mood and our energy and feel like we're back kind of like in some sense of control of our spirit and our emotion. And I'll post it again underneath this talk because I think it's really valuable to see, so clearly, like, what's not my job, what is my job. And what it says is, like, it's not my job to be perfect. It's not my job for people to like me. Not my job to do it all and to be perfect. Not my job to please everyone and to avoid criticism. It's not my job. That one's hard for me because there's a strong people pleaser inside of me that I think a lot of women in this group also share. That it stings when you feel like somehow you're displeasing someone, or people reject your thoughts or ideas, or you're criticized for the way that you hold yourself. It's also not your job to hold it all together. Not your job. What is your job? Your job is to love people, not to try to fix or save people. Your job is to stand in love. Loving yourself, loving your intention, trusting that you're doing the best that you can, and loving others. It's not your job to be liked. It's your job to be authentic, to be the best, strongest, clearest you that you can. That's all you can be. That's your job. While it's not your job to do it all, it is your job to just take the next step. And sometimes that is the most courageous thing that you can do when you really suffer an emotional setback, when you feel like you've really been kicked on your ass in the arena. It's not your job to please everyone, but it is your job to speak your truth. Even if you're criticized for it, even if your message is deconstructed, even if you are unpopular for the leadership decisions you make, it's your job to be truthful and authentic and speak your truth. And it's not your job to hold it all together, but it is your job to breathe. And it is only your job, no one else's, to put you back together again if you're feeling like Humpty Dumpty that fell off the wall and is broken into a million bits and feel beaten, broken, battered, low. It's not other people's job to reassure you and put you back together. It's your job to breathe through it. So I wanted to talk just a little bit about, like, how do you, like, if you're really knocked back and you really are feeling down and low, if you're really feeling beaten in any arena, rejected, humiliated, incompetent, how do you navigate out of that really low place? And I've been there. I've been feeling this very poignantly for the last couple of weeks. I have a very high profile position that is responsible to speak and educate to a wide population internally and externally at my company. And it is a minefield with challenging situations that we're experiencing health-wise, social justice-wise, employment-wise, financially, economically, politically, socially. It's just been a super challenging time to navigate these really tricky waters and to be authentic and to hold my truth even as there are so many other points of view, some that are very challenging to me personally. So this is where the one-way conversation only serves us so far, because what I do with my clients is I get on the phone with them and understand what's their strongest point of attraction from where they create. So all of my clients were able to define what is the beacon that is the light that shines from them when they're working from their zone of brilliance, when they are completely in courageous authenticity, when they are building a purposeful vision. What is it that is in that higher vibe energy that centers them? And where are they likely to get hooked in a lower vibe energy, like what we were just discussing? Overly people-pleasing, wanting harmony, wanting everyone to be liking each other and liking you, wanting to be smart and seem credible and be perfect and not have flaws, wanting to win at all costs, having ambition steamroll other people. These are the lower frequency energies that can drive us towards success in some ways, in many ways, but ultimately will not help us when we really need our resilience tactics. We need to find a way to unhook ourselves from some of those energies. So if you're watching and you're not really sure exactly what's yours, reach out to me and see if this is something that you want, the work that you want to do to understand more about your leadership style and know exactly how you can navigate from a really low vibe place where you feel knocked down and beaten to your higher, more energized, clear vision place where you feel centered and calm and like you're back in your zone. But for now, I'll give you some really basic tips. First, if you're really beaten, if you're really feeling quite knocked back, sometimes you just need to let that be the energy that's here. And before we try to, say, you get knocked down 9 times, you get up 10. Sometimes you just need to feel like, whoa, I'm feeling kind of battered. And I'm a total believer in just being with whatever needs to be there. And so if you need to feel it and you need to acknowledge that you're feeling pain and that you're feeling disheartened, you're feeling frustrated, or you're feeling disappointment, then that's step 1, is actually just to kind of retreat and recoil and even turtle shell in if you need to sort of like take stock of what's going on with you, because you're responsible for you. And be so kind to yourself. Like, treat yourself with ultimate kindness and know that you can handle hard things. You can handle defeat. You can handle humiliation. You can handle criticism. You can handle feeling not good enough. That this is the realm of leadership that you're going to be pushing forward and pushing toward your higher, more effective place, because you're not going to just stay in these zones of wanting to please or wanting to win or wanting to be better than or wanting to be perfect. And know that it takes practice. The real essence of what you need to do when you're really knocked back is all about thought work. It's about choosing the thought that you want to think. So like a really easy explanation could be with the economy. Let's say your 401k has taken a beating over the last 3 months, and it went from $200,000 for your retirement down to $100,000. This is a perfect example of how thought work works. Instead of feeling like, oh, I've lost all this money and this is a terrible circumstance, which could be true, it could be one thought that is true, you want to go for the better feeling thought, which is, I have $100,000 saved. I have had more money saved, and I know I can have that money because it's been true before. This might sound sort of like fairy tale land, but literally, controlling how we direct our thoughts is the essence of how we navigate through challenging circumstances, is by choosing how we're going to think about a setback, how we're going to think about a circumstance. And from that place, we're allowing ourselves to have better feelings, better actions, and then better results. This is a much deeper concept that I take my clients in on one-on-one work. So if you want to know how you might be able to find a better feeling thought that leads you to better actions and better results, then just ping me, reach out, and we'll talk about what coaching one-on-one with me looks like, about how you can find your vibe, you can find your own special strategy to navigate up and away from a really hard setback, how you can develop that resilience for yourself so that you can self-arrest when you're really falling and flailing with whatever challenging circumstances you're facing. And how you can get the perspective of somebody outside of yourself that can see where you might be getting tripped up, where you might be misdirecting some of your thoughts and energy when it should be coming from your deep sense of self and what you know you need to do to be truly authentic, versus trying to architect circumstances outside of yourself so that you feel good about being in that circumstance. It's a very subtle twist that a coach like me can help you navigate. So there's quite a lot in this talk tonight. It's all about resilience from shame and from stress, about techniques that you can use to help you regain your composure, regain your energy, get back into the zone of flow, and feel like you have got this. It's okay to feel pain. It's okay to get knocked back. That's what authentic, courageous leaders do. That's being brave, and I celebrate you. And I also can help you if you're feeling like you need a way to navigate up and out. That's what I've got for tonight. Go well.